This is Jonah Kessel. I'm a video journalist for the New York Times. My last assignment in Nepal was on March 25th, exactly 1 month before a series of earthquakes and aftershocks would take the lives of over 8,000 people. On May 17th, nearly a month after, I returned to Nepal. What I saw was unimaginable damage. More than 500,000 families have lost their homes. I saw parks and fields transformed into mass living spaces. I saw both hope and despair. But what was most impressive to me was that ordinary Nepalis weren't standing around waiting for aid. They were helping themselves.
A group of friends, we got together. Since we didn't have enough fund, we thought, let's start by asking 1 sack of rice from each household. And then we collected almost 50 sacks of rice, and then we got started.
Anurag Bhattarai, a 31-year-old Nepali, was in India at the time of the earthquake. But upon hearing the news, he immediately returned home to Kathmandu to help. And what started as a sack of rice quickly grew.
Then it got a momentum, and then we started $5, $10 by a drop and drop. Then we could collect enough fund, and now we are at least on an initial phase to start a school.
Anurag brought me to Sindhu Paltruk district, about 6 hours outside of the Kathmandu Valley. The further we drove from the city, the greater the devastation seemed to get. There used to be 10 schools in this village. Now, there are none.
हामीले टार्गेट हामीले हेरिरहेको उमेरको ग्रुप चाहिँ 5 देखि 10 वर्षको ग्रुप हो किनभने कक्षा 1 देखि 5 मा पढ्ने एभरेजमा त्यो एजको मान्छेहरु हुन्छ हैन.
When I met Anurag, he didn't even have a website, but they had managed to find funding from India, the United States, and Singapore, and a plan is being put into place to get children back in school. But what is truly remarkable about Anurag is that he is not an aid worker, and he had no experience as a volunteer. But most importantly, he's not the only one. Youth all around the country have taken actions like this, and they're making a difference one community at a time. While the countryside was hit the hardest, the old areas of Kathmandu also crumbled. The next day, I visited Sujyan Chitrakar, an academic program coordinator from Kathmandu University's School of Arts. He's been mobilizing students to rebuild a 6th century village on the outskirts of the city.
So we haven't come here with few sacks of rice and given to them, taken picture with our banner and went home, and updated on Facebook. So early morning I reach here, and late evening I just go back home. So whole day I'm working here. So I forget about this earthquake and try to rebuild. So I think that whole process has helped many of us to get out of the trauma also, and it has shown definitely a hope. And if you see the smile in those little kids or even women, I think that's beautiful.
Where bureaucracy got in the way of government and international NGOs, these ordinary people simply started helping, and they've been here every single day for a month straight. In this one village, more than 500 people now have roofs over their heads as the monsoon season approaches. However, for some, hope is still very far off. This is Kartak Lama. She is from Longtang village, a community of about 700 people located at an elevation of 11,000 feet.
हामीले त्यसमा सोच्न सकेन हाम्रो मान्छेले 177 जनाको मान्छे हाम्रो त्यहाँको स्थानीय नै गुमाए. अब त्यसमा कस्तो हामीलाई दुःख लाग्यो. मेरो आफ्नै दिदी गुमाए, मेरो हजुरबा हैन हजुरआमा, काका काकी, फुपू दिदीहरु, त्यसैले हाम्रो गाउँको मान्छे नै कति बिचारा विचलित भएर त्यो मर्नेहरु एकदम दुःखद छ के कसैको ज्यानै छैन, कसैको घाँटी छैन. त्यसरी मर्दाखेरि हामीलाई धेरै दुःख लाग्यो त्यसमा.
Those who did survive are now in a state of purgatory, living in tents into what to them is a foreign land. And this is just one of hundreds of small tent cities in Kathmandu that are still here a month after the earthquake, and some are much larger.
त अवसर माथि जस्तो भइसक्यो हामी यसरी मागेर बस्नुपर्ने स्थिति थिएन पहिला यसरी आज यस्तो हुन्छ भनेर हामीले सोचेको पनि छैन नि त अब नर्मल अब अहिले के नर्मल भन्ने तपाईँ हाम्रो बस्नको लागि बास छैन घर छैन हाम्रो माथि त हाम्रो घर छन् सबै थोक थियो नि
While the earthquake has physically torn the country apart, the ongoing relief effort is helping to bring the country's people back together. But as the news cycle moves forward and aid groups pack their bags, I hope the world doesn't forget about this amazing place. Because for the people here, the next chapter in Nepali history has only just begun.